Hey guys, happy Monday. Hope that the weekend went well. Today we are working towards our test on Friday. And that means that today and tomorrow we're going to be talking about scientific notation word problems. So I'm going to show you just a couple things that you definitely want to know. These are air test staples, so they are always on there. And stuff that you're definitely going to need to be able to do. So there's really two types that I want to show you. The good news is you probably hated adding and subtracting scientific notation like I know I probably do. Typically with our word problems, there's not a whole lot of them that are adding or subtracting. Usually they're pretty specific when they are. So if it says something like Jeff had 2.8 times 10 to the 5th rare coins. He got rid of 6.5 times 10 to the 3rd rare coins. How many rare coins does he have in scientific notation? So they're not going to like hide any information from you. And usually those ones aren't so bad, except for the actual adding and subtracting, right? So the two I want to show you are the multiplying and dividing ones, and those are the ones that kind of get tricky. And then, I'm just going to show you a couple of these. And then today's worksheet is just a few of them to try. So watch this, obviously, and then take notes and then try those ones. Tomorrow I'm going to give you another worksheet that's just try them. And then maybe I'll throw a video of me going over those. If that's something that you guys want and would help you out. So, all right. So the first one I want to talk about is we're looking for some keywords. So if you see anything that says this, how many times greater than? And really, this word can change. How many times smaller than? How many times bigger than? How many times longer than? How many times, whatever, right? It doesn't matter. Typically when people see these problems, we see one word here, and that's times. We say how many times greater than? And people are like, well, I see times, maybe that means that I'm supposed to multiply. This is the trickiest one. Every time you see this, it's division. Okay? So we're always dividing, and we're in the sentence usually tells me the order that I'm dividing. So for example, if it said something like Ohio State has 6.23 times 10 to the 6th students that attend there, right? That's a lot of students. But Akron, University of Akron, only has, let's say, 7.4 times 10 to the 4th students. Okay? So it'll say something like, how many times greater than enrollment? The enrollment in Ohio State is how many times greater than the enrollment at Akron. So notice how they said enrollment in Ohio State is how many times greater than? So Ohio State comes first. Akron came second. That is the order. It's setting up your division problem for you. Okay? So if it says the enrollment of Ohio State is how many times greater than the enrollment of Akron, whatever comes first is the top. Whatever comes second is the bottom. That's how you're going to set up this division. And then from there, it's stuff that we know how to do. Well, hopefully we know how to do, right? From there. So we're going to keep our base. We're going to subtract our exponents. That in this case would be 10 to the 2nd. And then those numbers, I got to grab a calculator. Those numbers out in front. Those numbers out in front is just our division, right? So whatever, since they don't have the same base, we do whatever the problem says. So in this case, we're going to do 6.23 divided by 7.4. And when we do that, this time it looks like we might have to fix our decimal. Remember that you can estimate, go to at least 3 decimals if you're going to round. Don't go too crazy on that. So let's go 6.23 divided by 7.4. And I'm just going to go 0.842, round it up. So our decimal is really supposed to be after this 8. From here, it would move 2 times. I really want it to be there. So that would only be 1 time to get where it's supposed to go. So when I fix it, it's going to be 8.42 times 10 to the first. Or if you want to write it out in standard form, it'd be 84 times, about 84 times bigger. Now, I did just make up those numbers, so don't that's not necessarily accurate data, but it gives a good example of what we're looking at here. So if you see how many times blank than, right, think division. You're always going to set up that division problem. So that's one of them I want to show you. The other one is a multiplication one. All right, and typically with multiplication, you're going to have 2 groups. So you're going to have like a piece of the whole. And I'll kind of show you what that's going to look like. So let's say, you guys don't really know me, because you are online and stuff like that, right? But I drive a minivan, all right? I drive a Honda Odyssey. It's 2004, which is, I don't know, is that like when you were born? I don't even know. Nah. Yeah, you guys are probably when you were born yet. Sweet. All right, so it's pretty old, okay? So let's say my minivan is worth, so my van is worth, I'm gonna be kind of nice here. I'm gonna say 2.3 times 10 to the third dollars. All right, so that's about how much my van's worth. But there's this guy I know who has a lot, and he has a ton of these vans in it. So in this parking lot, the dude has 6.45 times 10 to the fourth Honda Odysseys, all exactly like mine. Right? How much money does this guy have just sitting on his parking lot? Because that's a lot of vehicles, right? It's like 64,000 vans. That's awesome. So notice how this multiplication problem is going to be set up. They give us some information about something, and then they say, that's just a little piece. Now there's this many of that thing. All right, so here's a little bit. The van's worth this much. Now we have a bunch of vans. It's kind of, it makes sense thinking of it as repeated addition, because that's what multiplication is, right? So those are kind of going to be those key things. If you see like a little bit and then you see a lot of that thing, think multiplication. If you see how many times something, think division. So in this case, we're going to just set it up, multiplication. 2.3 times 10 to the third. And we're going to multiply that by 6.45 times 10 to the fourth. And remember, when we multiply, we're going to keep the base. We're going to add our exponents. That's 10 to the seventh. And then we'll multiply those beautiful numbers out in front. So 2.3 times 6.45. And that gave me 14.835. And of course, the decimal's never in the right spot, right? So if I move 7 spaces from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it would move 8 from here. That's an extra one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when I fix my decimal, 1.4835 times 10 to the 8th. So if you have a bunch of really old vans, that's still quite a bit of money. You know, if you have 64,000 Honda Odysseys laying around, let me know, because that could probably get me through the rest of my life driving those things, even if they only last like a day. Cool. So that's kind of the idea. Like I said, mostly you're going to see multiplication division. I'd be pretty shocked if you saw an addition or subtraction one. If you do, it's going to be obvious. These ones, not so obvious. So look for these keywords, look for these little tricks. Hopefully you can spot them. Try the 3 today. Tomorrow I give you a longer word problem sheet. So if you struggle with the ones today, definitely email me before you start working on the ones tomorrow, or send remind pictures. Not many of you are doing that. You know, just text me through a remind and be like, hey, I'm stuck on this one. Send a picture of it. I can help draw a picture, show you some work that I'm starting, start the problem, send it right back to you, and hopefully that can kickstart what you need to think about. And like I said, we're going to review the end of this week, test Friday, and then the quarter ends 1 week from Friday. So hopefully that's good news for you guys. All right. Have a great rest of your Monday. And yeah, let me know if you need any help. Later.